It's good to be back. Good to see you guys. Last night, many of our singers, we went to the city winery, and we saw a really great concert. And I also saw a number of our residential students club hopping. You know, I get a picture at the Vanguard, I get the Blue Note, I get Smalls. So we did our own city winery. This is really a special day. Every day has been incredible that I've been able to see. And how many of you would you say having the best time? Who's having the best time? Who's having a time better than you even imagined? I just want to say to our returning alums, it is so great to see you in the house. And our families, some of our students who've come in, and our adults up in our adult program. Don't think we don't know you're up there. Thank you so very much. Ted, it's been fantastic. And Ted, you're right. I said to you guys that this program, and you heard me at Dizzy's, first of all, was Dizzy's outrageously amazing? Did you have a better time, or did your families? Your families did. That's what I would say. It was fantastic. All right, so I'm looking forward to all those concerts that you have. But let me just say this. It takes many, many hands to do the work that we do here at Jazz House. It takes the 50 faculty. It takes the families. It takes a village. And part of that village are supporters. And so I want to recognize, at Lincoln Center, I want to recognize the supporters of this program and a couple of them, the organizations and individuals that are here today. But let me just make sure we never forget the ASCAP Foundation and the Louis Armstrong Fund. Is it behind me? Yep. Yes, you guys are good. Thank you. The Ella Fitzgerald Foundation, and John and Rose Cali, we are in their house, right? The Cali School of Music. The GMAO Prima Foundation, and that is Sing, 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 Louis Prima and the family. The Rosenberg family, so grateful for that. ShopRite of Newark, Trinity Church, Wall Street, for all of our New York City students. The Macmillan Family Foundation, the Montclair Fund for Women, the Petrina Foundation, and also we want to thank, coming here today, is an organization, New Jersey State Council for the Arts. And they are responsible for keeping arts in this state alive and well. And I would like you to give a round of applause for Sharon Burton Turner, who is the board member of the New Jersey State Council. And Stella Baldwin. They are so impressed with what they are pleased. So whatever county you are in and where you live, if you have the arts, you have the New Jersey State Council of the Arts to say thank you for. Also, I want to thank and welcome Nicole, who is our newest board member, but Nicole Pucci and Ralph Pucci of Ralph Pucci International. Now, I know you guys have heard a little bit about our visit earlier this year, where Christian brought in his friend and one of his longtime performing associates, Sting, and we had a very special program at Ralph Pucci. But for 8 years, we've been bringing in fantastic artists. So please, one of those wonderful round of applause, because this group, Ralph Pucci International, and Ralph himself, who is a drummer, who his daughter Nicole is trying to talk into the adult ensemble. Yes. But his love for this music really plays throughout. Some of you have been over to Ralph Pucci and have performed on many of the ensembles that Ted has put together. And I love how Ralph says that the Jazz House is kind of the soundtrack is jazz, and the Jazz House are making sure that the music is there. So please, a round of applause for Nicole, our board member, and Ralph Pucci International. With that, it's time. Is it time? Can I Excuse me? Oh, well, all week long, let me just say this. On piano, we'll start on piano. Running the department at Montclair State University, a long, long time friend of all of ours, responsible for really helping to advance our writing program and our film program. Somebody I worked with a long, long time, so he's just very special. And many of you know that he has an incredible program here at Montclair State University. Oscar Perez. And on the bass, it's always a hard introduction, but often there's no need for an introduction, but our artistic director, my other half, and really one of the visionaries on this music who is very much involved in making sure that the next generation of musicians have a place, I think, to perform and to be seen on the stages of the Newport Jazz Festival, on the stage of the Hollywood Bowl, and at MJPAC and so many other things. You know, he stands on the shoulders of giants, and he makes sure that he has big shoulders so you can stand on his. And so please give it up, Christian. You talk about titans. I know every day you have been seeing some incredible musicians. You still have George Cables coming, you have Lakeisha Benjamin, you had last week. And really this music is passed down by one practitioner to the next. And so you talk about big shoulders, a generous heart. One of the baddest cats on this instrument yesterday, just like, we were like this. I mean, just amazing, but can be the most delicate person on his instrument, and just a beloved friend of the Jazz House. And so, I don't know how many years we have had, well, I think ever since, because you were first with Janet Lemansky and with us for the entire 15 years. We can't do a summer workshop without this man. And so please, welcome of an NEA Jazz Master and Titan, Billy Hart. So, Ted, you have put together like a rock steady schedule of artists to come in every week. And, every day I get to show up, because usually I'm behind the scenes with my team at the Jazz House. But I had to come for this very special artist. In 2018, this artist was sitting with you. And I think that's really something to think about, you guys. Everybody, all your faculty, all of us were your age. I know it's hard to believe. But truly, the distance between where you are in this stage is within your reach. It's within your reach. And you heard from Lakeisha Benjamin giving you a lot of nuggets yesterday. How to make it from there to here, didn't she? She really laid it down. How you get out from some of those struggles and some of those mishaps, and how you keep playing it forward. But we're going to bring out a young lady that you can hear one note, and you know you are in another stratosphere. This artist is not of a generation. So let's just calm our phones down. Let's all do that for a minute.
Right now.
That's okay. Just take a second. I understand that. I understand because someone's like, I gotta be in this concert too. So just take a second. But there are amazing musicians wherever you go, all making a mark and having a story. Every single artist has a story. But there are few artists that are artists of a generation or of a century. And you know when you are in their presence, you are watching just the majesty of humanity and I think of creation. And I think of this artist who probably will never want to come out after I've said this, but that's who this artist is. And so we are going to all get on our feet. But I want you to remember when you are on your feet, your job is to work hard so you can walk across and get on the stage as well. And so please welcome Artist of the Year, just a voice of a lifetime. Please, we have the honor, the distinct honor of having Samara Joy.
you. It is such a pleasure to be here once again. I can remember being in the same room a couple of years ago, sitting up in the balcony, watching as the symposium took place. So it's nice to be a part of it. And it was definitely nice getting to know all of you through the various classes today. That first one, as you all probably already know, is Star Eyes. And now we would like to do a little duet for you. This is one of my favorite songs ever, and it is called Sophisticated Lady. They say into your eyes like romance came, and in this heart of yours burned a flame, a flame that flickered one day. Dancing, dining with some man in a restaurant. Is that all you really want? Sophisticated lady, I know you miss the love you lost long ago. And when nobody is there, Now, for this final song, before we do our Q&A, I'd like to bring up a couple of members of my band. That's all right. A couple of horn players who I've had the pleasure of touring with for the past couple of years. I don't see them right now, but I think they're here somewhere. If I call their name, Jason Charles on trumpet, yeah. David Mason on left hand, and Kendrick guitarist for tenor saxophone. We're going to do a little Love Walked In. And see. Love walked right in and drove the shadows away. Love walked right in and brought my sunniest day. Whoa, magic moment, my heart seemed to know when love said hello, but not a word was spoken. One look, and I forgot the blue. Just one more if you feel like it.
be said after that? Come on, brother. Melissa, when I hear Samara sing, I think of the scene in Lean on Me when Joe Clark goes into the bathroom to scold the four boys for not knowing the school song. And when they start singing in harmony, Joe Clark looks at him and says, "Who taught you that?" Answer me.
Right?
So clearly you are actually 80 years old, singing the blues, and it's one of my greatest joys and one of my greatest memories being a judge at the 2019 Sarah Vaughan International Vocal Competition. And there's usually always very, very good vocalists. You're rarely disappointed. But I remember sitting next to Dee Dee Bridgewater, and you came out. And we all looked at each other, literally, all of us looked at each other and says, "This is over. Send everybody home." "Oh, but we got two more now." "Send them home. This competition is over. You blew everybody away then, you're blowing everyone away now. Congratulations on you. I think my first question to you is picks up where we left off yesterday with Lakeisha Benjamin. One of the last questions asked, in fact, I think it was the last question, about the influence of the church and how that impacts modern music, or modern jazz, modern R&B, pop, whatever you want to call it. We all happen to know that you got some very serious church in you. You got the kind of church in you that drops the R. It's church. So please tell us about your family history.
Yes. So I've been telling a couple of the students today that I've been telling a couple of the students today that I definitely have a rich family lineage in music. My grandparents had a choir in Philadelphia called the Symposium.
Where?
In Philadelphia. Called the Symposium of Philadelphia, and they recorded along with my grandmother and grandfather recorded in the 60s and 70s. My grandfather still lives in West Philly to this day. He's 93. But my dad is also born and raised in Philly, a wonderful singer, my aunts and uncles. And so I pretty much grew up around music, and I started singing in church seriously when I was 16. And I definitely feel like I found a lot of identity and power and confidence in singing and being in that environment, and also understanding the purpose behind my singing, not necessarily to do all of the technical things, but to bring people together, and something I still carry with me to this day. And yeah.
You didn't start seriously singing in church until you were 16? That wasn't that long ago. That's pretty freaky.
Yeah.
So what were you doing up until then?
Up until that point, I was participating in whatever school program involved singing, like musical theater and choir, like a couple solos here and there.
Right, so you were singing, but you didn't really just get serious until
perform live.
I see. So how old were you actually when the voice emerged?
I must have been like 9 or 10, maybe 9 or 10, I think. So.
Wow, it's just so amazing. Have you felt that this always happens? This always happens. This has happened to so many vocalists. I think it really started to happen. Correct me, Mr. Hart, because I know you were there to witness a lot of this. Nancy Wilson started out as a pure jazz singer, eventually moved into a more commercial realm. Lou Rawls started as a jazz singer, eventually moved into a commercial realm. Marlena Shaw started out as a singer with the Basie Band, eventually merged into a commercial realm. So many great jazz vocalists have eventually said, all right, the bell's ringing over here, I'm gonna go this way. Have you felt that pressure yet?
Not really. I guess because what allowed me to experience some sort of commercial success was jazz. You know, it wasn't like I started here and I didn't find much opportunity, so I ventured out elsewhere. Not to say that that's the reason why people venture out, but I felt at home in it, and I think that there are a lot of things that are part of my musical identity, and I'm glad that I can confidently say that I love jazz and I love having that incorporated into who I am. So I don't plan on venturing out. And it's like, you know, you play with Roy Hargrove. I don't think he ever really, I don't know if you would classify it as venturing out as much as he was him. You know, he could play in any context and play any language that he loved in any situation, whether it was hip hop or whether it was, I think we were listening to a couple of recordings of him, you know, playing Lester Young language over Stratford St. Denis, but also, you know, I don't know. So it's just, you're just a musician, you're just singing, doing what you love, I guess.
I love the fact that, you know, I just discovered in Newport a couple of weeks ago that your James Brown knowledge is a lot deeper than I knew. So, who are some of your favorite, because yes, you're right, when you think about people like Roy Hargrove, yes, we are children of R&B and soul and rock and pop, but you know, jazz is like right here. Who are some of your favorite contemporary artists that inspire you? And I mean like pop, R&B, hip hop, rock. So I know you listen to everything.
Question. But the thing is, I usually listen, contemporary for me is more old school.
Okay.
I don't normally listen to a lot of maybe people my age. Like I love listening to like the Spinners. I love listening to Shaka Khan. I love listening to Donna Hathaway, and yeah. So that's pretty much I don't know, contemporary. Cecile McLaurin-Salvant is probably the most contemporary person I listen to right now. But yeah, I definitely listen to a lot of music, but it's more old school. I don't know. You're right, I'm 80. I don't know.
But you got your Chuck Taylors on. So,
weren't these the basketball shoes y'all was wearing back in the day?
wow, she said, wow.
Y'all was on the team back in Philly. The 76ers, y'all was.
Wow.
You can pull up the picture. They have shown the picture that we have a
I've been in the y'all category too often. Well, I think by the time I was in middle and high school, we were wearing ponies. Ponies, Pumas, the shell top Adidas, which came back. I've been wearing mine again. Back in 1985. My Adidas. You get the reference? See?
Young audience.
What are ponies?
Young audience.
Run DMC. You heard of them?
Yeah.
Should we tell them about what we just did?
Yes.
Please tell them, because I'm so excited.
Yeah, we had the chance to go into the studio a couple months ago, Power Station, and record a few tunes. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to kind of, the label was like, here, set up some sessions. I was like, I can choose anybody? Anybody I desire. And I've been a fan of both of these gentlemen for quite a long time. So it was amazing to get to be in the studio with you both, playing and learning from you. And so yeah, thank you so much for doing that, by the way. Thank you very much. He came and set his drums up the day before, so that when he came in the day of, he was ready. Everything was set up, everything was perfect. Just put the headphones on and go. Hey. He said, I can eat lunch at home. Let's get this music done right now.
Mr. Hart, you have a very wonderful personal friendship and working relationship with the late great Shirley Horn. Tell me some of the things you hear in Samara.
There's certain things I hear in Samara that I didn't expect to hear. There's a certain maturity that's it's beyond normal to me. It's like she was actually there,
Right.
you know. So what happened, I wasn't that familiar with Samara except for her name. I wasn't, so one guy picked me up to take me to the studio. So I said, well, put on one of the records, let me hear what's going on. And I remember thinking, I've never heard anybody else do this besides, you know, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Shirley Horn, everybody. And I'm saying, how in the world could she have known this? How did she learn to do this? And I never got a chance to ask her. You know, at least with Shirley, when I used to ask her, she would tell me. She said, well, you know, I used to hang out with Billie Holiday. I hung out with Sarah Vaughan. I hung out with Carmen McRae. I hung out with these people. I never got a chance to ask you how you are so familiar with that higher a level of artistry, vocal artistry. So someday I'll ask you.
Well, I'll say, I guess I tried to hang out with those same inspirations in a different way by listening to the recordings and familiarizing myself with their sound, you know, because I only started singing jazz my freshman year of college, really. And I was not familiar with Sarah Vaughan or Betty Carter or Abby Lincoln or Carmen McRae. I didn't know any of their recordings or what their voices sounded like. You know, I had never heard of Brains, you know, anybody, you name it. And so I was dedicated to immersing myself in the music, if for nothing else, no career aspirations or anything, but just learning about the music. And I loved it. And I guess because I loved it, similar to any of the other genres that I listen to and I admire, and that I absorbed, it just kind of comes out and flows naturally because of the love.
Samara, you went to SUNY Purchase.
Yeah.
Who were some of your mentors out there at SUNY?
SUNY Purchase, I got the chance to take jazz history with Kenny Washington. I took transcription with John Faddis, a couple of the members of the Village Vanguard Band, Gary Smolian, Ralph Lorano. My voice teacher, I took jazz vocal lessons for 3 years, and then I studied with a classical teacher for my last year. But yeah, it was a real benefit having all of those professors who were still working, you know, to learn from.
Who were the vocal instructors?
Alexis Cole and the classical teacher, her name was Sherry Overholt. So, yeah.
Wow, incredible. Oscar, yes, my man. Clubber Lane. Yes. It's another 80s reference, I'm sure y'all just hear. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, great. You've worked with a lot of wonderful singers. I always feel like that's what separates the good piano players from the really great piano players, that you know how to accompany that. So what's going through your mind when you're working with a vocalist, and particularly with this vocalist? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's a great question. Thank you for asking it. I mean, this is the first time we've actually played together, with the exception of one song in the piano lab class at 9 a.m. Yeah. So thank you. It was great. I think basically just making sure that they feel they can hear what's going on, so you're not mucking things up with too much information, and then giving them little ideas. Mostly it's just listening and just being empathetic to what they're trying to do, especially when they're trying to do it. You know, I think that's one of the main things. And, you know, I'm constantly learning, and I'm glad you said that, you know, about the recordings, because everything you need to know is on the recordings. If you really just cherish them, you'll find all the answers, whether it be, you know, Hank Jones with Abby Lincoln, or, you know, whoever. Like, you just notice that there's this empathy to the accompaniment style. You know, you don't try to do what doesn't need to be done, but just giving them that support. You know, giving, you know, the chords, of course, but it's mostly about, it's not even filling the space. It's just, you know, being in the moment all the time and wondering, how can I make them sound better? That's the main thing. You know? Yeah.
I think all of us are so excited to watch your career further develop, because it's, I mean, you shot off like a rocket. And when you win one of the, what do they call it, the top 5? You know, you won Best New Artist at the Grammy. You on the televised portion.
Exactly.
Okay.
The world saw you. Nobody saw me get my Grammy except the people who were there, right? But folks saw you like all over the world, and when you get that level of success so quickly, I think a lot of people tend to worry, because a lot of people can't handle that level of stardom and success so quickly. But you seem to be so, you know, I use the word Mr. Hart used, mature. You seem grounded. You seem like you're looking at this going like, hey, it's part of a whole thing, you know. Where does that grounding come from?
I think it comes from my family, but in the fact that they instilled in me, you know, the fact that you have to be yourself. And I feel like it would be inauthentic of me to try to chase any kind of, you know, stardom or mainstream, any kind of thing, because that's not really who I am, you know. I'm grateful for all the attention and the newfound opportunities and stuff like that, but you know, if I could go all out there and do that stuff but not play a tune with Billy Harmon and Christmas and Bride and Oscar, then what am I really, you know, what am I really doing? So, yeah, I guess the way that I stay grounded is by making sure that I understand at all times, even when life is changing around me, even when there's opportunities thrown my way and all that kind of stuff, to remember why I do what I do, right? And the fact that the motive behind learning jazz in the first place wasn't to be a student or Gen Z jazz star and all those titles and stuff. It was because I loved it and because I wanted to pursue it further, and it led to all of this beautiful stuff. So, yeah.
I'd like to open the floor. Who has questions for the great Samara Joy? Oh, don't get shy now. Okay, there we are.
So you started like taking seriously when you were 16 and you're 24 now, right? So you've been doing that for 8 years. Just out of curiosity, how many songs are in your repertoire right now?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can count it right now.
Estimate.
An estimate? I know a lot of songs. I do know a lot of songs. I don't know if I could estimate it, but my book has expanded quite a bit, especially because of undergrad and repertoire classes. Like, we had to learn 2 tunes a week and present them in class, and I was learning tunes outside of class as well. So, yeah, I don't know. It's quite expensive. I don't know every song in the world, but I know quite a few.
As a kind of newcomer to the genre, at I guess you say, like an older age, at certain college, what was it like kind of coming into the tradition? Were there any things that you kind of didn't like, or were there things that you did like about the tradition and kind of moving into it as a college?
I don't know if there was anything I didn't like about the music itself, so much as some of the people that can surround it sometimes. And I say this correctly. Yeah, I would, bottom line, listening to musicians that I admired and listening to how they developed their creative voice was what I was focused on. So whether it was people like Freddie Hubbard, some of my favorite frontlines include Freddie Hubbard, and Pepper Adams, Freddie Hubbard, and Joe Henderson, people like me and my band with a little, and Max Roach and Art Blakey, and all of these things, like focusing on artists who were great and they continued to evolve over the course of their career and still managed to, be great in every decade, in every context, even when they were 20, I think Booker Little died when he was 23, and it's like one of the greatest musicians and one of the greatest harmonic concepts and stuff. So I don't know, I guess I'm just, instead of being focused on so much on like the tradition and maybe what is expected, I just listen to what was already presented to me and just work my way from there, I guess. Two good questions. What are some of my goals, and what is advice for my vocalists? Some of my goals, I still have a couple musicians I would like to play and record with, like Herbie Hancock. Somebody has his phone number on the stage, so maybe we can make that happen. But yes, there's definitely a couple of musicians I would love to play with. There's definitely a lot more places I would like to go, and more music I would like to learn how to write and compose and accompany myself, and become a better vocalist myself as well. And I guess advice that I would give to young vocalists would be to listen. And I don't want to overstate it. I don't want to be repetitive, but when you listen to your favorite pop song, when you listen to your favorite R&B song, you know every detail about it. You know every riff and run, so much so that you can sing it without even hearing it. You know what it is because it's a part of you. Because you listened to it so much, you loved it so much, it became a part of you. And so I like to think of jazz the same way. And I think maybe a lot of times you feel pressure to know a lot of records and a lot of tunes and and it's like, I don't know how many records Bird had, but he still managed to create an entire language. And so I would say just start, don't feel any sort of pressure to know everything all at one time. Just start, listen, connect with the people around you, the musicians around you. You already have your own voice. Try to find it. You already have it, just keep developing it.
Before we go to the next question, I got you next, but another thing I've always admired about you is that you go find the musicians that you can get some information from. You always come in the vanguard when I'm there, and I deeply appreciate that. And you just come to hand and talk to the musicians. I hear a word on the street, hey, Samara came down and heard us, and asking us questions. I feel like that hand factor is actually pretty important, especially if you want to learn this particular music. Was that is that something you consciously knew you had to do, or did somebody say like, hey, you need to do this?
It's definitely something I was encouraged while I was in school to go see shows and to get out and hear music, because that's one of the ways you learn, just even simply by watching musicians and the way that they conduct set and the way they play and orchestrate. But it's something that's definitely become more important to me now because of the fact that my schedule is so crazy. A lot of times when I'm home, I feel like just being home, I want to be committed to staying inspired. The other night I was telling a couple of them I went to go see Sullivan Fortner and Jonathan Blake and Chris Potter at Smoke Jazz Club. And I would hang every night, definitely not. I'm not because sometimes hanging, you probably learn more if you just stay home and practice. But and I mean hanging with friends, not hanging with older musicians. But in general, I appreciate appreciate and I love the fact that I can go to the Vanguard, that I can go to Smoke, that I can go to all these places and hear such wonderful music from people that I admire, because it helps me. And it teaches me new songs, new ways of interacting with people, teaches me how to listen and develop my ears, so I love it.
When I discovered Ella Fitzgerald, you know, I kept wondering, I kept saying, well, how in the world does she know? She must hang out with every musician in the world. I mean, of all the vocalists I've ever heard, I've never heard anybody that can like memorize some of those patterns that, I mean, she knows almost as much as any instrumentalist. And I just said, well, I guess she just must have just spent so much time with musicians that that's what it was. But you're the first one I ever heard, and it was obvious from the first time I heard you that you had that kind of wisdom or that kind of knowledge. And to add more to that, is you've got such an incredible instrument. So, I mean, you've got an instrument that you can recognize right away.
Yeah.
So I don't know who she is, but what a beautiful voice, what a beautiful sound. Is there any way to study that, or did you just have that? It seems like you must have just had that from the beginning. Maybe you can answer that.
Well, I can. I will definitely say when I was singing in middle school, it didn't sound like what you just heard. It was very vastly different. 10-year-old Samara versus the 24-year-old version. And I don't know, like I was saying before, everybody kind of has their own voice, their own background. And so you have your own way of hearing and listening to it. So if we listen to the same song, we're going to hear it a different way. And we're going to interpret it a different way, because that's just the nature of our being as individuals. And so, because I had music around me all the time, because I was constantly, I didn't know it at the time, but I was practicing, I was imitating, I was absorbing, I was, immersing myself in music all the time. That was one way that I developed my voice and the ability to listen, so that, and I maybe it even started off as kind of like imitations. I like to imitate certain singers in the way that they sang. I can't do it with the band drums right now, but things like that. And so so when it came time for me to learn jazz, and I was listening to Ella, who would hang out with Dizzy and Lester Young and Bert and all of these people, Hank Jones. I listened to how bright her tone was, how solid her feel was, and Sarah Vaughan was more on the elegant side and more operatic. Shirley Horn, who was like, it was almost like spoken, and you could feel every single word, the phrasing, the time that she took, with the lyrics and the music. So, I tried to take in everything, and once again, no pressure to like go and, transcribe 10 just find that one recording, One of my favorite recordings is, a couple of my favorite recordings is Sarah Vaughan live at Mr. Kelly's The Stairway to the Stars, Betty Carter in the audience with Betty Carter live in San Francisco. Those are just a couple of live examples, at least, of how one can interact with the band and use what they have already to interpret beautiful songs.
There we go, right there.
You talked about, obviously, you talked about transcribing a lot. So one thing I'm interested in is when you transcribe, how fast you go through your transcriptions, what are you looking for when you transcribe things? How do you practice in general? Obviously you had to practice like a ton of hours and had a lot of discipline to improve as much as you did in such a short period of time. And lastly, how do you learn to lose?
Oh man, that was a three-tiered. Let me see. Oh Lord, I had an answer for one of the things that you said. Drew, you were talking about transcription. I don't want to use that term loosely. Transcription is when you learn a solo and write it down. I guess I learned a lot of solos, and I listened back to them and I played them over and over again. And it just, once again, it just came because I love listening to it. It wasn't, I guess, if you have assignments and you have things you need to learn, dedicate the same amount of time to it. But Kenny Washington was suggesting records like Charlie Parker, the Washington concerts live, and I was like, oh, it's amazing. And it was also, there are some others like, I don't know, any Art Blakey and Jazz Messengers record ever that I was listening to and learning from. So, what else did you say? Practice. I don't know, I think that, I don't know if I necessarily logged a specific amount of hours. I think I was just kind of doing it all the time, setting aside time to learn new exercises, setting aside time to learn new songs, setting aside time to play with people. So my day was just kind of filled with music. It wasn't like I'm gonna play for 2 hours and that's it. It was a little bit more loose than that. And I think that when you decide that your life's work is going to be as a musician, you want to do it all the time anyway. Not to say that rest isn't important, but I find that I don't necessarily follow a specific schedule. I find ways to do it all throughout the day, because that is my job. And how did I learn the blues? I listened to, I don't know if you know the singer Mildred Anderson. She recorded with Eddie Lockjaw Davis. I listened to, what's his name? Eddie Cleanhead Vincent. I didn't listen to Nat King Cole. I listened to, who else? I'm trying to think. Those are a couple of people that I listened to in order to learn blues. It's Eddie Cleanhead. Louis Jordan. I listened to a lot of Louis Jordan as well. Yeah.
Look at his face.
Wow. Nobody listens to Louis Jordan. Saturday night fish fry. Everybody here with his chickens.
Notice that when you hit the low notes and the high notes, you work for a long time. Did it come naturally, or did you do a lot of practice years?
Now you said when I hit the low and high notes, it took a long time?
You held it a long time.
Oh, yeah, I do that sometimes. I'm teasing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did that come naturally?
Did that come naturally? No. It definitely came with a lot of practice. And I think because I was listening when I took that year of classical singing, classical lessons, I was listening to opera singers. When I was hearing how Sarah Vaughan would end tunes, so dynamically, she could hit this high note at the quietest volume and access any part of her range equally, with no weak spots. That's when I knew that was something that I wanted to do. And so I just kind of started trying it out. It didn't always sound like that, and I'm not even sure really how it sounded because I couldn't hear myself. But I'm glad that it sounded equal and balanced to me because that's one of the things that I want to be better at is being able to, whatever idea that comes to my head, whether it be a high or low note, I want it to be equal. Confident. It can be challenging. I think you just kind of get in where you fit in a little bit. You definitely have to make it a priority while being on the road because it's a balance between rest and, conserving your energy for the actual gig, conserving your energy for the travel day, even though it's probably all spent by the time you get to your destination. But it's all about how you balance. For me now, I do usually 2 to 3 gigs, then I have a day off, and then 2 to 3 gigs and a day off. So I'll find a way to warm up or practice during the performance days, and then take the rest day, and then start over.
What was the last song that you sang?
The very last one, it was just kind of like the very last one, the blues. It was just I don't know, a compilation of all the blueses that I kind of learned. It doesn't have any one name. There's definitely a couple different influences in there. Yeah.
I think we have time for one more.
So, briefly, you started seeing that and especially at the media level, did you ever start to feel that overwhelmed with all the information in music, or that it was very difficult to catch up with already at such a high level?
Absolutely, it was very difficult for me because I felt behind. But I kind of just stayed in my lane. And if anything, I asked those people who were ahead of me at the time for advice, on whatever it was that we were working on, so that I could understand it better for myself. And I think it's good, to just surround yourself with people who are better than you and who can help lift you up, as opposed to just kind of being like, oh, I don't know this, so I'm not gonna pursue it. I felt like I wanted to pursue it, and I wanted to know, and I wanted to be able to know it confidently for myself, so that I could, so that I could be a better student at that point, because it was about grades at that point. But yeah, I wanted to pursue knowing more and not finishing college the same way that I started, without having, learned everything that there was to learn, at least at that time. So I just asked questions. I surrounded myself with peers like the ones that you heard.
Samara Joy, as I love to say, you are aptly named, because that's what you bring us, a lot of joy. Thank you for being here.
Give it up for the great Lily Hart. Stand up for Samara Joy.
Hey folks, can you raise your hand if you were inspired today by all of this?
Woo!
Right? Amazing. So we're going to do a quick group picture, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to have Christian and Miss Joy come down, and Billy and Oscar come down here, okay? Just in the center, and we're going to have everybody just stand up and fill in behind them, okay? All right, can we have everybody stand up? All right, can we just have, well, hold on, just wait. Just come down.
Can we get the house lights? Is that easy? I don't know.
Melissa?
Yeah.
Doing it in reverse. This way, all right, everybody in the back, can we just fill down the aisle, And can someone turn on all the lights for me in the back? Can someone turn the lights on in the back? For the whole room? There we go. Okay, so try to get as close as we can. If you're in the center, kind of go down to the sides here so we can get. All right, so can we snuggle in? Can we snuggle into the center, the sides? Snuggle. All right.
Hey folks, one quick reminder, remember, we have a 6 o'clock start to our combo concert tonight for first set students. We're gonna be eating in G55. If you have rehearsal in G55, do not touch the food, okay?